real world. Let's get it. Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it.
Yo, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, peeps. We ending up and rounding up another week. It is Thursday already, and it just seems like the clock keeps ticking, right? Not seems like, but it is. But welcome to another edition of Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. We looking to get it on today. For those of you all that's going to be dropping in on us live, truly appreciate you. But also tell us where you're tuning in from. You know we're a global show. We know we want to hear from you. Drop in the comments where you're tuning in from. Also, drop in there your questions, your comments, your perspectives. We want to hear it and engage with each other in the comments. That's a networking going on as well. We want you to do that. Also, we want you to get in on this discussion because we're talking about it today. We're talking about it. We're talking about opening up, right? But for those who are going to tune in on the hashtag replay, don't forget it. We got you too. Drop your comments, drop your questions and perspective in the chat because we know it's global. We want to hear from you as well. We do go back, we do check it out, and we do engage and answer your questions as well. But you all know I don't do this by myself on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yes, go check out that YouTube as well. We need those subscribers, y'all. We need you to hit us up on realtalklivepodcast.com/YouTube. Definitely go subscribe and also subscribe to our business page as well here on LinkedIn because we're trying to do big things for 2023 and we got it up and running. But I don't do it by myself. Yo, y'all know who I deal with. My hostess with the mostest. Come on in, Charlene. What's up?
What's going on? I'm trying to stay out of the light coming from my window. Hi, everybody.
What's up? What's up? What's up? We got Calvin
Yes,
checking us out in the morning.
Calgary,
What's up,
the
Anita?
Bronx. Come
Anita.
on,
Anita, I'm
ma'am.
gonna try to slide into your book club this afternoon. I think I got a 1 o'clock. But I'm gonna try to slide into your book club after this 1 o'clock if it don't go too
Yes,
long to check that out. So see what books we're talking about. But what's up? What's up? What's going on, man? The week is just not going.
man.
This seemed like we was just doing the show, which we was, but Tuesday it's like it just seemed like as soon as I cut the computer off, I'm cutting it back on. We doing another show, right? Is that how much we on, or is that how fast the time rolling, right? Yes.
Well, everything is going nicely on my end. I'm finally having some repairs done in my apartment. So,
Oh yeah.
woosah to that. I'm woosahing through that moment.
Yes.
but,
Who saw to
but
that?
I know, but we are doing some good things. We're kicking off November strong, and we're gonna promote the last month for our sponsors. Thank you so much for being sponsors most of the year. We appreciate y'all. This was our last month for promoting our sponsors. And if you too would love for us to sponsor you, your company, if you are a part of a corporate, if you're a part of pushing out your own organization, your own business, let us know. We are happy to promote you. Just hit us up so we can give you the details on how you can get started with us promoting you. And we just want to kick that off. And first and foremost, thank you so much once more time for Russ and Scott. Make sure you guys check them out for the live business mastermind group. This is where you can get together, have accountability, and speak to someone else, not just, maybe you got people around you who don't know what live streaming is, what it can do. Get into a group where you can have other people give you feedback of what you're doing. Maybe you're missing something. Maybe they saw somebody else's live stream and they were doing something amazing and different. You just have that feedback and that way to bounce ideas off of each other. Head on over to rusthedge.com and check out the live business mastermind group so you can be a part of something that will be bigger than just you, right? Giving you those ideas and how to use different technologies so you can make it pop. And let them know about our dear friend Martin Pratt, sir.
Yes, Martin Pratt. Go check him out. The Black Toolbox. It is an excellent gift to give during this holiday season. And if it's not interesting to you or you think that title kind of throws you off, gift it. It's definitely a giftable book. as well. But the best thing that comes with it, it's an autographed copy, and your purchase entitles you to a free consultation with Martin. He explains to you the books, the tools that's in there for you to use, and how you can succeed utilizing them. So definitely you want to go to the blacktoolbox.com, check out Martin Pratt's book, because it's definitely a gift item for this holiday season, right? You get it autographed, so you can say you got it before he blew up. Top five, top number one authors on Amazon. He's on his way up there. And you also get that consultation so you can understand how you can make this Black Toolbox work for you. So go get it today, blacktoolbox.com.
And then let the folks know about your clarity sessions that you wrapping up the year with.
Yes, I'm wrapping up the year with. I have 3 more spots left on the calendar, guys. Three. But since I opened this up and we've been doing the show, people have been like, "Yo, I was waiting for your stuff to open so I could get on and chat with you about certain things." Yes, everything you want is right on the other side of vulnerability, because actually leadership needs an example, right? We're producing those examples. Go sign up right now for your clarity session right there at bevulnerable.com. You can also scan the QR code, take you straight to my calendar, lock in the day. I got 3 spots left unless someone cancels before then. We closing out the year on a bang. So we're looking to have some people going and doing some great things going into 2023.
Here, here. And of course, I'm wrapping up my calendar for the 2022 season. If you know that you need to really figure out how to use your website, what kind of website you need to build, maybe you have something that you put together and you're ready to step it up. Come to me, brooklyn.customdesigns.com/strategy, BKLYN customdesigns.com/strategy, or you can even scan the QR code if you are looking on a large screen, your laptop, whatever that may be. Just make sure that you are on the calendar, because come November, we shutting it down. We're going to get our rest for December. We are revving things up for 2023, and things are going to change. So the way I'm doing the strategies now, not how I'm going to do the strategies in 2023. So get ready, because I'm going to be ready. So I am excited. I cannot wait. The new year is going to really be so amazing and spectacular. So I can't wait for the new projects. I'm excited already for those who are on board, and cannot wait to help those who are still contemplating. Get on board now. But speaking of contemplating and what we want to do, it's about vulnerability leadership today and the power of opening up, because Carl knows, and one of my homegirls, she on here, Miss Nadia Nathy, honey. She knows me. I am what? We not
Oh,
we're not getting vulnerable.
whoa, whoa,
And
whoa.
it took years. It took years for me to be vulnerable with my friends, let alone on a live. So yes, we doing that. Mr. Vulnerability is taking over today, and he's gonna help us understand, especially as leaders in corporate, in our own spaces, in our families. We lead in our families. We don't always think about it, but we're leading in our families. We have young people looking up to us in our families. We have older folks that we're following in their steps. How can we keep their memories going, and how you keep a family moving forward in a positive way? So that's a leadership mode. Are you showing them a way to do something different and better to lift up the family? And it's the same thing in corporate and business. Like, so how can we be open and vulnerable at the same time? So Mr. Vulnerability, take over.
It is what it is. We're talking about the vulnerability and leadership piece, and what's phenomenal about that is that you don't have to be in leadership, right? Vulnerability deals with everybody and every concept. And Charlene made some great points. We are cognizant of the threat part of that, right? And it's always multiplied and magnified when you're dealing with people, because first and foremost, we all have our guards up. There are always things that we have that we want no one else to know about. And strangely enough, what Charlene said is being around friends for so long. They're friends that I've been had for 30 plus, right? And I'm just now finding out things pertaining to them. And it's not that we didn't have a friendship where they thought they could tell me. A lot of times that vulnerability hinders us from having those inner things that's going on someone else to know about. They think that we thinking that it'll change the trajectory of our relationship, that it'll change how we view each other. In essence, yes, it can, but for the most part, it's a change for the positive, but we don't actually engage in that because of our fears of what others may think. And a lot of times this permeates over into the leadership in corporations. People bring their own thoughts, biases, and all of that. That's why we have such a need for the DEI space and what goes on in there, because people bring their own biases to the table, and these people are or becoming or will be leaders of others. I always say that we take it for granted that leadership is the greatest. We have the greatest job, us as leaders, right? Even influencers, and I'll even put it to that. What we're molding thought processes of others. This is what you're doing as a leader. So there is a grave responsibility that you have to be on point with that. And meaning being on point is bring them along for the growth, the journey, and you also want to keep that relationship where they can continue to feel that they're going to develop. Because we have a lot of leaders that say, okay, my name's on the door and you report to me, right? How many of you all, if I could take a visual or I just say raise your hand with that one, I'm pretty sure the whole audience will raise their hand. But we have to come to a point of saying the empathy must be taken out the door, and we got to suck up the tension in the relationships at work. And this is the only way that we're going to get it done.
Yes, and getting it done is being part of a collaborative collective. You always have when you're in that leadership role, there's people who feel like you said, you answer to me kind of thing. The buck stops here, or not even the buck stops here really. They like to take all the kudos and don't give proper they don't give proper recognition to who gave them the idea. It's not a team when the positive vibes come, when the money starts flowing. They forgot everybody underneath, and they're not saying, you know what, I didn't know how to pull that project together. If it wasn't for my team, if it wasn't for these folks and these three people in particular, I know you guys pulled an all-nighter. I knew there's extra money in the pot. This is for you. There's not a lot of leaders who can say that. There's not a lot of leaders who will do that. And of course, when projects go bad, you don't have those leaders to say, you know what, give me the feedback. Do you think I gave you enough guidance? Do you think I was available enough? Did we have enough meetings? We missed the ball. What was that's not a conversation that happens. When things go wrong, that's when the blame game comes. That's when the pink slips go out. And all of a sudden the leaders are like, well, I tried. Nobody was
See what happened was. See what happened was.
right. So to be a collective, what have you seen, especially in the corporate space? Because you've been talking about vulnerability in the corporate space for years. What have you seen that have been the part of leaders messing up and they just either don't realize it or they won't acknowledge that they messed up on that?
You really hit it on the head. The first thing is acknowledgement. I call that the three A's, and I'm going to be covering that a lot on this month as well when we're talking about the vulnerability, and that's the awareness, the accountability, and the accountability. The accountability, the awareness, and oh geez, I forgot my third A, but they're part of the three A's that we talk about, and those three A's are essential to leaders understanding who they're leading. I think this is really the biggest gulf that we provide. That's the distance between leader and employee or manager or supervisor, whatever that title may be. The biggest gulf comes from us not understanding who we lead. And we lead with a purpose of things being done our way, right? There are a lot of ways for me to get someone to do things that's not necessarily my way, but it's achieving the same goal of which we're all working to achieve, right? And that's to get results, whether it be the KPIs, whether it be the ROI, whatever that is. You guys can get in alignment on how we'll do that. I can't officially have you in my company and say you got to do everything the way that I do it. Right? We have rules, we have policies, we have procedures. Well, there's our systems in place that we use to get to that point, but you don't have to use them the way that I do. As long as they're not contrary to what they provide and what they offer, then we can use them as that. And as a leader, it is our mission, so to speak, to guide the growth in that. If I see that you're excellent, just say we got sales, right? And we talk about sales because a lot of times people have a problem talking about selling whatever services they have, especially in the entrepreneurial space. Everybody's not a marketer, or a seller or understanding how to communicate what they have. So if I have someone that can book me sales, but they hate to be on the phone, I have to find another avenue to make them available to their growth, their strength. So if you're booking sales and you're a great calendar whiz or you're social media whiz, and that's how you bring in sales, I gotta let you run with that because the bottom line is you're bringing in things that are profitable for the company. I can't have a sales call company and we do cold calls, and I have someone on there that doesn't like to be on the phone, right? You say these things, say, "Oh, Carl, what are you talking about, man? We don't do things like that. It's simple. We should do it. We shouldn't do it, right?" There
Yeah.
are a lot of people that are going to work every single day in these kind of occupations that are being put to these kind of challenges. And the leaders that they have are not being creative and understanding how can I do it where you can be successful, we can be successful, and growth could happen on both sides. And that's what I talk about a lot in the leadership realm. I really came up with 6 things to kind of inspire being that vulnerable leader. And I know a lot of it hinges off the empathy piece of that, but more so, a lot of it hinges off on these particular steps, right? And I didn't share these with Charlene because I said, no, this would be a great opportunity to talk about them right now in the midst of it, right? I have a lot of goodies in my bag past Halloween. When we're talking about inspiring others, the 6 steps I want to take, and Charlene types quicker than I do, I think, but create safety. That's the first thing that you want to do in leadership for your department, for your team, for your region, for your area, whatever it is, it goes up the ladder. You want to create safety. So those that are working under you or reporting to you have an understanding that who I'm working for, I can talk to. Don't give them that open door policy. And then as soon as they come out, you call them Maureen. Look who just came in here. Child, I've been putting up with this mess. No, you creating that safety. You're having it where they depend on you to say what I say to Carl stays with Carl, and whether it be even if it's talking about Carl, I have to keep that with Carl because there
Mhm.
are points in place where you got to open door policy. People come in and talk to you about you. Yeah, I ain't really feeling how you talking to people. I'm not really. That's not a time for retribution. That's a time for being aware and observation. Oh, I didn't know that that happened. I didn't know that I talked that way. I didn't know the voice of the language I used was offensive. Owning those things, acknowledging those things, being aware of those things, those are the things that you need to do. After you created that, what do you think about the creative safety piece? Because I'm going to go through the list, but I want to go through it with you because I want to
Well,
hear your piece on it.
I'm just getting flashbacks, almost like PTSD. Because no, but because in the past, I've heard and I've witnessed where people have tried to be vulnerable, tried to open up, and the next thing you know, their business is spreading like wildfire. And and folks try to be slick and not give a name, but baby, by the time they done explain the scenario, you figured it out. And no matter how large a corporation is, we always work in groups and silos in the sense of, you're gonna know particular people, the way they move, the way they behave. Just if somebody just explains something, you're gonna be like, oh, that's so and so, right? So I've seen many times where that safety has been violated, and it's not just regular subordinates, it's actual leaders who have done that. And are they doing it out of malice? Not all the time, but what's unfortunate is that the safe space is no longer really even in existence, because the way that we are speaking about something, it's not like we're sharing because, you know what, I heard this, and I'm just trying to figure out what to do. I know you come up with good ideas. It's not always that. It becomes a danger when now you're using it against the person, or you're
Yeah.
using it in a sense that you're creating it as a fun moment for your clique. Because we've talked a lot about cliques at the office, right? And when it becomes a leadership clique, it's more dangerous because now you're kind of blocking everybody from opportunities. When you're in that leadership clique, you're spreading people's business, you're doing things maliciously. And then by the time somebody that you've been talking about and talking like a dog about is coming up for opportunities, folks are like, oh, isn't that so and so? Okay, yeah, thank you for coming. And the next thing you know, people are like, well, why didn't I get that position? I knew I had all the skill sets. I knew I did this. And it's not because that person couldn't do it. It was because of all the cliquish stuff that was going on. And God forbid if a leader don't like you, honey, and they start spreading your business and they start telling people, oh, I don't like so and so because, they didn't do what I needed them to do at that time. Maybe that leader was lazy. Maybe that leader had people doing work that they didn't need to be doing. Or maybe that leader didn't know how to get work done, and they're blaming it on a specific person, or they just don't like that person because the person didn't go for the BS. So now they're trying to almost put a black mark on that person's name in the company. And that happens a lot too. Once you break that moment and that black dot is on your name, you can't do anything in our organization. You have to leave.
Yeah, and what you said is pretty is most telling. I did a post yesterday, and I thought that it would be alarming to a lot of people, and indeed it was. And I was reading the Harvard Business Review, right? I get that, I get subscribed to that, and I read a lot of the articles in that. And I don't read it just to say that I read it or because of the name of it. I read it because they're very informative and they're very truthful to what I've seen in writing in parallel to leadership and in parallel to business. They talked about that it was 80, I think it was like 58%, I think if I can remember correctly, was the percentage of people that would trust strangers over the ones that lead them,
Yep,
over
I
their
saw that.
bosses, right? And I put that out and I said, "Ooh, this is gonna be alarming. I'm gonna see where I'm gonna get from this and how people are gonna respond to this." Because I think when you put things down to a number or percentages, it's eye dropping. And I heard that a lot and I saw a lot of that in the comments. Thank y'all that commented and dropped your perspectives in there as well. When you think about that, 58, that's more than half the people that work for their bosses don't trust their bosses, right?
Hmm.
And this is where the number one on this list, create safety, is so gravely important for the leader. You have the opportunity, and I keep saying have because it's missed. You have the opportunity to create that safety, and that goes along with acknowledging that even coming into it, because a lot of times people come in, because I came into a lot of leadership positions from other leaders, and of course, how I am, I didn't vote well with how that went about, right? I didn't stand for the same things. I didn't allow the same things. But what I did in that, I ingratiated that transition through my accountability. So as a leader, what I took on is saying, yo, I know things work this way. And I put things up as a scale. Okay, I know things work this way. This what was going on. This was happening. This was happening. I'm not pointing out anything. I'm just pointing out situations. This is how the office was before I took over this position. This is where we want to get to since I'm in this position. So I kind of frame things, and this is what leaders' creativity is all about. They put you in charge because they kind of figured you know something, right? They kind of figured you was different than the norm. So when you use those kind of things for that, you create that safe space. But oftentimes you have those misuse of powers, those abuse of powers, right? We saw it a little bit in we see it a lot, I'm saying, in politics, we see it a lot in justice systems, we see it a lot in all of our systems that we have. But you have to be the individual, and this is where vulnerability gets hard. You have to be the individual that takes the stand, that say, well, in my circle, right? In my circle, this is how I'm going to do it. And you will be surprised at how many people stand with you in that circle, but they didn't have the boldness needed to say, yo, I'm on board with him. This is how I want our place to be ran. And it takes that one individual there. And how fun is that? It's not. Believe me, I done took a lot. I done lost a lot. Been talked about a lot. The whole nine, right? But I'm still standing. All of that just made me stronger. So how do I do that with other people? I just continue it on. After that, I'm establishing trust. So we can move to that trust part of that. When you establish the trust, that's just some of the things of what I said. Once you created that safe zone, you're establishing trust with those through the relationship that you have and how you deal with people. Because it is places out there, like Charlene said, I ain't want her to get no flashbacks. I ain't want to get no flashbacks.
Child. Like
So,
woo, child. Cold
yes.
sweat.
So, she, she got the cold sweat. So we establishing the trust. And after that, we providing the clarity. You know, the clarity is next. After the trust is established, and I get you to understand. I'm providing the clarity. I'm letting you know this is what's going on. And after the clarity is there, now I can put in the leadership cap because now I'm offering a challenge. And that challenge is for you to take up the mantra such as I have. And let's make this a great department. Let's make this a great team. Let's make this a great region. These are the things that if each and every one of us do, we'll be able to accomplish the things we want to. So the clarity comes and then our challenges come. And then after that, I'm getting the feedback. Because all the time while the other moving parts are moving, I'm listening. I'm hearing who opposed. I'm hearing who's with. I'm hearing what can make it better. I'm hearing what I don't like. I'm hearing who's not getting on board, who's causing obstacles, who's creating obstacles. The feedback gives me all of that. So that's intentionally done. And notes are being taken during the feedback. I love taking notes because I want to hear what you got to say. And I want to hear what you got to tell me. And then you follow up with the follow up, which is the sixth step, right? Leadership must be a follow up. I must not put anything in place. I must not put any system in place. I must not put any parameters in place. And I don't come back and see how they're working. How can I call myself a leader? I give Charlene something to do, and 6 months down the line, I ain't asked about it. Year down the line, I'm not worried about how it turned out. You leading everybody into the ditches. So those are my leadership. Those are my leadership traits.
Now,
They're on my
the things
website. So go get them. CarlShawnWatkins.com.
I like those, and I'll ask these questions because I'm only asking because of a survey I got to fill out, and
Be
and
truthful.
it's child. I'm always truthful, and that's my issue with filling out the survey, because with the surveys come the thought in my mind: are y'all even paying no mind to this, or are you cherry picking the ones that giving you praises and you ignoring everything else? And the reason why I say that is, if you really are pulling out all these health organizational health surveys, and you're asking people like, hey, are we being clear as leaders? Are we doing that follow up? Are we giving you that challenge to get to the next level? And how are those things coming along, right? Because people put initiatives out all the time. Organizations put initiatives out all the time, honey. And it's like you playing tennis right now, because it's like, which initiative do we do today? Like, like, is my backhand strong? Like, what we doing today? So how can you really, as an organization, as a leader, say, oh, something's working, if you have 17 things coming at your team and you're trying to be like, oh, but see, we're doing everything, but you can't do all 17 at once. And then at the end of the year or every quarter, be like, hey, how we doing? Hey, how we doing? And then you throwing out 17 brand new more 17 brand new trainings again. Or incentives again. It's something's not, to me, something's missing, or something's being ignored, or it's not being implemented properly. Like, where can leaders really sit back and say, you know what? I know we want to touch everything at once. I know we're a large organization. Maybe we're a small organization. There's 17 things going on in the world. We want to touch all 17, but is that even realistic to do that and then ask for feedback and then see progress going on?
Um, it's two answers to the question. Initially, we would say no, of course, because there's too much going on. There's too many moving parts, right? That's why I come with my 3 A's: the awareness, authenticity, and accountability. Those three: authenticity. I don't know why it left me, but I thought about it and I was like, oh, that's your other A. The awareness comes with that. Yes, we are aware. And then, of course, with the employees and with everything now, with the social unrest, the political unrest, all of those other things, the recession and all those other things that they won't admit to, the raising of the rates, all of these things that's going on. Yes, they are filtering in into our workplaces, whether it be in conversation or actually things being taken away from us that we did have or we did be able to have, order, or use, right? So when you're as a leader, the obligation is, how do I make the comfort for those I'm leading? It has to start in the small circumference. You can't go out. I can't say I'll protect my home. I go out on the streets and leave my home unopened, or I leave the door unlocked. and I'm out in the streets. I can't say that, right? So when you look at that, the sensibility of it says, okay, I got a team of six. In this team of six, we're going to create a culture that our six is going to be accountable to. And everyone
Mhm.
is going to see that. Now, whether they come in with the nods, the yay-sayers, gainsayers, whatever it is, if they come in with that and we got surveys and giving those things out, you can't answer all that. What you can be true to is say, okay, I'm your department head. This is how we're going to do business. The six people that I got in charge, this is how we're going to run things. I'm going to take your feedback and I'm going to go with it up the chain. So you have to take on that accountability piece and be aware of who you're leading because you can't touch all fires. You can't put them out. There's
Come
too
on.
many going on. But what you can say is, and even you can do this across the spectrum. This is what I've always talked about since we're going there. Well, I'm glad you did. This is what I've always talked about in the essence of communication, team per team, right? You have 7 or 8 teams that's dependent upon each other to get things done, to commit to get to the objective goal, right? But you have department heads in those teams that don't have nothing to do with the other departments, though they need each other to complete the project. This is the idiocy, the idiocy that you have with the people
And
that
the
are leading.
clicking and the
Or the
clicking and the
click.
talking and the
Those things are
background.
by high level, those things have to be made an example of. And if you're not the ones to make the example of them, then you need to move aside and stop collecting your shares. And I'm talking to CEOs and C-suiters. Stop
Mhm.
collecting your shares and stop collecting all of those dividends from the stakeholders. Because
And
you
those
don't
golden
have the
parachutes.
right, because you don't have the cojones to say, yo, this is what's going on and this is what I got to clear up. I got a great, and it's a great example of what's going on right now. And I don't know if everybody's aware of it. The Washington football team, they had a great
Mhm.
dynamic of such a hostile work environment with sexual harassment, a lot of discrimination and things of that in the workplace. Okay, what did they do? The optic eye level, they hired this African American man to be their president, right? The president over there, because the owner he had big issues or whatever. They've been trying to get him out forever. Even with the naming of the team, calling them the Redskins, that was offensive to the Native American community. He said he wasn't going to never change the name. He was just really dogmatic about a lot of things. And this is an owner, right, of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. He hired an African American to come in to clean house. Now, the dichotomy of that or paradox of that say, okay, you couldn't clean house, or you bring it in because you having these issues. You're gonna bring an African American so it looks lighter, right? The thing that I loved about him is that he ingratiated with the top first. He didn't start with he didn't start with it. His first few meetings, and he collectively had this publicly. His first few meetings was with all top level executives. I was like, "Go ahead, bro. That's what I'm talking
Back.
about." Because it's easy to bring leaders in and start hollering at the mailman, the ones in the mailroom. Yo, y'all not getting the mail up here before lunch. It's easy to do that, right? He called them to the carpet, and they had business meetings for 2 weeks. And I was so overjoyed at that. And this is leadership, not because he's African American, because he took a hold of where it really permeates from.
Mhm.
Leadership. We have problems with the employees because leaderships fester and let it happen. And he went right at leadership neck and said, yo, this is what we're going to do. So when you have those kind of people that stands up like that and stands in a place like that, that could be you, whatever circle you're in. That could be you individually. You have the power to stay there and say, I'm not accepting this at. No, this is not right for me. Yeah, I know it's jobs. I know we need work. I know that. I'm notwithstanding that. But the abuse that you're going to take or the mistreatment that you're going to accept, is that worth a paycheck on Friday? You going home every night carrying those things with you to your family, sitting at the
Mm.
dinner table and you talking about how hard it is for you to even get things done at work.
Mhm.
I don't think I would trade a paycheck for that.
Child, talk about it. And that's
We'll say
that's
he
what
sound
it.
like say, Will, you in church, man. You know it's church every time I come, man. Every time I come, man. I just don't have my collar on, Will.
But that's just what it is. It's about understanding. Okay, the level of stress you're giving your staff, your people, and they're taking that home. There's no way, even though we keep saying, you know what, separate home from business and stuff. When you under pressure, it's hard. That is so difficult to say, you know what, let me turn my mind off of that, because eventually it's going to affect what's going on in your household. Just like what goes on in your household is going to affect what's going on at your job or on your business. So you need to be able to weed out what's happening. Be open enough to say, you know what, this isn't working. This isn't worth it. And actually, yes, it's not worth the paycheck to have those stress and your mental be broken down. So the power of opening up has to go all over your entire life. You can't be bottled up about the drama going on in your house and then come to work and biting people's head off. You're not performing properly, or as a leader you can't decipher if somebody is going through something, like, you know what, your performance dropped. What's going on? This isn't like you. Sometimes people just come at your neck. Well, you didn't do this and you didn't do that and da da da. But they're not even trying to figure out, okay, this isn't like you. Why? Because they don't know you. Just like you said, a lot of times there's no human in here. Will even said that. If you don't understand your people, you got to keep asking them through surveys every 2 hours. Hey, how we doing? Hey, what's going on? Hey, because you didn't take the time to get to know who the hell working for you.
Yeah,
You don't get the time to understand that.
and you hit it so much on the head. The getting to know, we've confused getting to know with being nosy. There's a big difference, right?
Come
There's
on.
a huge difference there. Like I said, oh, I don't need to know my coworkers. Absolutely right. You don't need to know what they're on, their personal lives, things of that, unless they want to share those things. Absolutely 100%. But getting to know them is styles, patterns, behaviors, mental, how they move. That's getting to know. That's a leader being aware. That's sitting in a
Hmm.
space and saying, okay, I know I can kind of be rigid with Charlene, but with Donna, I gotta smooth it. I know I get it's all a part of coaching. It's part of the coaching. I know knock on the door. I got coaches in here, right? How are you coaching? Every client you get, you can't rah-rah with. Some clients are going to pick that up, that sports mentality. Yeah, I can do this. I can do this. Go bang their head, get all excited, and go do
Fact,
it. Some
fact.
you're going to have to kind of like coddle and say, you can. Some you're going to have to be like a train. I think I can. I think I
I
can. I
think,
know I
yeah,
can.
let's
I
have
know
a
I can.
woosah moment. Hmm.
Yeah, and some you're going to have to say, okay, breathe, breathe. We can get through this together. Those are those are reasons that you're in leadership. And when you're not giving those opportunities to those you're leading, you're really doing a disservice not only to the job, but to the company and to those who are willing to grow. Because 90% of that, I didn't put that other piece in there. I'm going to say that for another post, and I'm going to alarm you with this. 94% of the people that are leaving their jobs, you guys already know this, right? Harvard Business Review said 94% of them that are leaving their jobs love their jobs. It is that they suck leadership. They really hate it. They hate leadership. They hate how they're talked
Hmm.
to. They hate how they're being treated. They hate how they're being overlooked. They hated how the cliques are killing relationships. They hate how the merit is not being given to those that's doing the jobs. And this is
Hmm.
coming from all nationalities. I ain't gonna sit up here and say there's no DI thing where it's this black or this
Facts,
woman or
facts.
that. This is all nationalities. People are not being appreciated. Why do you think it's a great recession? Oh, well, there was no jobs. The unemployment rate has not jumped since the early part of June. It's been at the 3 point something. They trying to figure out how come the rate going down. We got all these jobs, but people ain't working at them
But
because they
I
don't
already
want
told
to.
you about that trick that they do.
They don't,
Because
because they
after
don't
a
want
couple
to.
of weeks, you can't even apply for unemployment anymore. So you are no longer part of the statistics. That don't mean you ain't got a job. That means they no longer counting you.
Yeah,
I
but
need folks to start telling that part of the story.
no,
Okay.
that is part, but that is definitely part, and that's keen to it. But the part I'm pointing out with that report is that people are not falling for the okie doke.
Right.
People are not, they're not falling for that. They love, like Will said in person, they love their job and my people. Hey, yeah, what do you say? I love my job and my people, but needed to leave in order to be a leader. I'm destined to be. Absolutely, Will. You are in a phenomenal class by yourself, and we've talked about some of your attributes as well. I love your thinking, and based upon where they had you, they suck. They don't need you there. I'm just saying it. I don't even want to say the company, but they don't need you there. But there's there's the opportunity. What I'm saying that is being missed so much by the leadership, and so many people say, "Oh, I'm a great leader." Take a survey of the people you lead. That'll let you know if you're a great leader.
But are
You
they
don't have
going
to.
to tell the truth? Because don't forget, there are
Yeah,
leaders who
tell
are
the truth.
retaliation.
Yeah, that's
Some leaders
another
live
thing.
on retaliation.
That's
So
another thing.
are you hearing the truth? Because folks know you. Because that's
Mhm,
something else that I saw. Folks know
mhm.
you. When you're like, oh, my door is open, you can talk to me, and next thing you know, they're not getting any raises, they're not getting proper merit increases. All of a sudden, you dogging them out in emails. Why? Because they were open with you, because you lied and you could not accept the truth of, hey, if
Can't handle the
something
truth.
is, if I'm not doing something properly, or if there's something you see I can do better, let me know. And when they let you know, you blow up. All of a sudden, you coming for their necks, and that people don't like that. People are not going to trust that either, and it breeds a culture of distrust. So no matter how many times you want to replace folks and bring in a new leadership and all that, the culture's already there. The
But see,
culture is there.
and that's the onus on the leader, and it's a never ending cycle, which I'm not going to say is going to be eradicated over time.
Mm-hmm.
But what we can move to is better environments, right? And how
Facts.
do we get environment? How do we get better anything? We have to do it one at a time. One at a time. Those things, just like you had mentioned about, there's so many things going on, but we can't address everything at one time because we get scatterbrained. Not only do we get scatterbrained, we start disseminating our resources to places where we're not effective. Those are all the kind of things that leadership take in. So yeah, of course, we love the paycheck. When the paycheck come on, I'm a leader now. I'm the GS whatever the title or the pay may be. The pay rate is phenomenal. Yeah, but the responsibility part kicks in is that as well because so much is given, much is responsible for. Right,
Yeah.
much is needed. So if I'm the leader, now I got to think with a new level of thinking and to create that. And all of these obstacles are there, and people are going to work with it right now. People are probably sitting at their jobs right now watching this, saying that, Carl, you're talking about some great things, man, but how can this be implemented here? I'm going through this. This is the struggle I have. See, my boss right now looking over my shoulder, trying to wonder if I'm doing work or if I'm listening to LinkedIn. These are the things that's going on right now. I just threw that in for y'all, get y'all laugh. But these are the things that's going on, and I'm well aware of that because I've done it myself for 30 years. I was always the odd leader out. I wasn't invited to a lot of things because they didn't want to hear me talk, and they didn't want to hear me talk about what I knew was wrong. They didn't want to give me the platform for that. They didn't want LinkedIn. You done messed up. Gave me a platform. They didn't want to give me the platform for that in these corporations. And then when I start talking about that, yes, Yolanda, you can't handle the truth. That's my favorite movie. When I start talking about that, people got on the defensive and saying, "Oh, Carl," I start wondering why I wasn't getting invited to the Christmas party. Like been at the company a few years. Like everybody getting their emails. I'm not getting invited to the Christmas party. I started seeing things doing there. They had the little golf tournament. I used to be in the golf tournament. I used to do this fundraising. Now I wasn't with the golf tournament. Yeah, I started
Mm.
seeing some things that they took away from me. But I also told them that I didn't care. And I kept doing it. So it's a stand that you have to take. And how can you do it to get to the call to action piece of that? How can you do it? You have to do it one step at a time. I'm not telling you to go and jump off the bridge like I did because I just thought it was necessary based upon what I was facing. And I didn't want to face it. And I knew I couldn't live with myself playing that role. So what I did, I just started speaking about it. And I say, I deal with what happens when it happens, if it happens. So that's why I started living my life with that empowerment. So that gave me empowerment through everything. See, it only takes that one thing where we fail to realize that one thing that you're hiding behind. It also puts a shield up around all the other areas of which you can grow. So when
Facts.
I became that leader at work, then I was that leader at home, then I become that leader at church. I believe that leader in my council or that leader in meetings, or it opens the door to all those other avenues because you're empowered to be who you are. That's the key behind being vulnerable. So take away all of those things that they tell you about being harmful, destructive, cause harm, cause danger. Yes, those are happening. So we're walking across the street downtown at lunchtime.
Oh, child. So
Just can't
can I?
do it.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna throw something out for you in the audience.
Yes,
Do
yes.
you all think, especially with this whole, everybody needs to learn how to be leaders at this point. People
Oh,
just getting the title, especially during COVID, folks was
yeah.
getting the title over a Zoom meeting, and now they're expected to be leaders. But have we missed the opportunity to now have retreats for these leaders? Because I remember back in the day, folks used to have retreats. Were they good or not? I'm not going to say that, because maybe this is now an opportunity that leaders can revamp the whole retreat scene and start doing retreats for their leaders. Organizations do retreats for their leaders and start to show them what it is to be open, what it is to be vulnerable, what it is to be a true leader that is actually allowing others underneath them to grow, to shine, to elevate, and start once again looking for those who are working for you to start taking over some responsibilities of these leaderships roles, right? Because before that was when leaders were looking for their mentor, their mentees, to say, who can I start to groom to take over? Who can I groom to now be in another leadership position? Who can I groom to say, if I'm ready to leave, I can recommend this person because me and you were side by side. What was going on? Can we start going back to that? Should we need to start looking into that? And those who are coaches and consultants who do these type of retreats, is this a place that they have been missing the mark and not getting ready for these leaders to start? We need to start rounding y'all up first, and then start and start speaking to our teams. Because if you don't even understand what a leader is, because like I said, there are a ton of people who got the positions of leadership and they don't know what that is.
Mhm. And oh man, it's a lot to unpack in here, and I'll try to hit this quickly. Um, when you talked about the leadership retreats, I went on many of them, and they were kind of fruitful in corporations. And what I would desire to do, and what I always opted for, and always changed when I was in leadership in different positions, to bring those along who weren't in my circle, because a lot of times they have those leadership retreats right for the high end, the C
Mm-hmm.
suite is they get to go party on a yacht for a week, or they get to go up in the mountains and ain't really and they ain't really camping out because they live in these log cabins. They got all more amenities than some of these plush hotels, right? And we call those retreats, right? So actually, does leadership training actually takes place in those? I was with Chick-fil-A for 8 years. In their ownership program, I was in it for 2, and I was at one point in time looking to be an owner operator of Chick-fil-A. And I went to Atlanta, where their headquarters is, and they had a leadership retreat there. Leadership retreat was for 4 weeks. Now you say to yourself, God, I can have a leader away from me for 4 weeks. It was so intensive with some of the class and training, and not only the that piece of it, but with the camaraderie of older leaders, established ones, younger leaders with great ideas. They would sit around the campfire at night, and I'm talking about seriously campfire, marshmallows, the whole nine. Right? I really my first couple of days there, I thought it was one of the corniest things I've ever got in. But once I got there, and at the end of the 4 weeks, I felt so empowered to go do so many things that I had no idea I could do. And that was where we've gotten away from. You know who's stolen that? The internet. And you know why I'm going to blame them? Because everybody and mama got a leadership course. Everybody and mama got a leadership certification. Everybody and mama got leadership tips, advice, stuff like that. It's notwithstanding who you are as leaders. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing that piece. But people have so many other avenues to get that badge or certificate. You can go now and get your degree and you ain't got to do no classwork. You really can sign up at East, West, North, South University, take a couple of courses, pay $199, and you got your MA or your MB or your MS, right? Let's not get
Mm-hmm.
it twisted. It's real. So this is where we've lost the battle with that. But what we have to do with those that have those retreats, we as company leaders have to look and say, those are fruitful. Let's look for those. Let's get our leaders back involved in those. Let's do that on the retention piece. If I can retain my leaders, they'll be the vocalists to go get those that we need as employees, because they'll change their thinking about the company. We do a leadership retreat twice a year, and it did dissolve. The last company I was with, we went from going to Six Flags as family day. They bought out the Six Flags for a day. We went to from that to getting coupons to they couldn't afford that no more. We went from a Christmas party to, Christmas party with a bonus to not no party, just a bonus to not cards. Like businesses has just dropped all of that. And then you want leaders to stay engaged. You want leaders to learn more. And then you want leaders to have all of this unction about saying things to you. So you opened up a can of worms with that one. But I do think we go for a short answer. I do think that we need to go back to those retreats. We do need to avail ourselves to that conversation leadership.
Hmm.
Yo, how are you doing things in your department? Maybe that'll help me in mine. You know,
That too. And Nadia brought up a good point that they don't need to start with the leader. They need to catch them on the way up.
that's
By
what I
the
was
time
saying.
they're in leadership, they're set in their ways. And it's true. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's why I brought it back up because it's connected to what you're saying. And she
Hmm.
said retreats help. So
Hmm.
with that, I'm just at a loss for why are organizations just ignoring that there, and that goes back to my initial mini rant of all these surveys and all these initiatives that they're throwing out, and nothing is sticking because it feels like they're all over the place. And mind you, what by the time they do their town halls, they're giving you yes, and this is where we're doing, and this is where we're doing, and kudos, and let's cheer for ourselves, and yes, this is where we are. But by the time the year is over, you've been through at least 3 different quarters of 3 different initiatives. And when I'm saying initiatives, 3 different initiatives, I'm saying you might be saying your goal is the same, but your approach to getting to that goal has changed. And it's not about, oh, we're evolving. No, you can't evolve like that. Especially if your organization's trying to bring in leaders and trying to get your staff back on track to work together, because we've been at a long distance for a while. So you have some companies trying to drag folks back, screaming and hollering into the office. You have others that are like, no, we're going to be remote, we can do this. And you can see progress on both sides. However, when it comes to saying, you know what, let's bring everybody together, let's have that open dialogue, let's keep it where we can all be honest with each other so we can move forward and do great things together. The way we're going about it is constantly changing. And then, like so many of us have been saying, you have the microaggressions that are still happening, but now they're happening in different ways. They're manifesting differently. And I used to tell my mom about, if somebody seems like they're doing better, like, oh, they don't do this anymore. I was like, mommy, watch that person. It's not that they're not doing anything or they're not doing things anymore or they're getting better. They found a different way to display their upset. If they're upset or if they want to lash out on you, they just doing it differently. They've evolved in how they act badly. That doesn't mean that they're getting better. They just evolved in how they act badly. So I feel like that's the same thing with organizations when they're holding on to bad employees. When I say bad employees, they're not pushing out new things. Like, every time you want to do new processes, you want people to come up with new ideas. You have a whole group of people, they never send a new idea. They never speak up in a meeting. They never even say, you know what, hey, let me send you a quick email and, this is what's going on. Like, you don't hear boo from these people. So what's going on? How do we pull those people in so we can see, are you a bad employee or are you just not feeling comfortable enough to talk to me? How can we as leaders start to pull that out of those quiet groups? Because it's a lot of times it's the quiet groups too that will help a company fail, because you're not connected to these people. You don't know what's on their mind. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and that starts with the first A that I talk about, the awareness. There has to be awareness, and there has to be what I call civility awareness. That's meaning that you're being aware of all things. You're not zoning in or particularly looking for things to stand out. You're watching all things to see what doesn't fit in. So when you're looking at that and you're aware of those things, say, oh, that action or that activity or that behavior is not cumbersome to what's everything's going on. And if we're aware with that, it sticks out. We get these messages every day, all day in leadership. You cannot be a leader and tell me you don't see these. Now,
Hmm.
will you be ignorant to it or will you not say nothing about it? That's what you'll fall into the category of being. But you see it. You see it. You can't be at these companies working in these places for such lengthy periods of time, and you don't know how stuff go. You know how systems run. You know how when things aren't run right, when they're running accurately, and you understand that, but you're not saying anything about it. So you being silent about it is just as bad as you being a part of it. So therein lies have to be the ownership, the awareness, the second, I mean, the owner, the second A, the authenticity of that. I have to be authentic enough within myself. How do I feel about me? Because a lot of times leadership bleeds over into others that they're leading because of how they feel about themselves. See, it's
Mm-hmm.
a mirror or it's a microcosm of else. I don't really feel all that great about myself. So what I'll do, I'll put my inner feelings out on someone else, or I'll talk to someone else how I really feel, or those kind of things. So we have to be authentic with ourselves first as leaders and say, yo, I can't really handle this. How can I get training? How can I get help? This is what's going on in this department. I want to make it better. Give me the resources. You've got to ask for these things, and you got to be a bug about these things, because I'll be a bug. Sorry. I've been replaced a couple of times because of that. But I'll tell you right now, back to those companies, talk to some people there, and things have changed. It didn't happen while I was there, but it happened after I left, which is awesome because they heard me, right? So those are sometimes you're gonna have to fall on the sword sometimes. Is that part of life? Absolutely it is. Falls on the sword. If you're an entrepreneur, you done failed at a business. If you're writing a course and it's not published, you done fail. If you're an author and ain't finished your book, you done fail. So there are failures all within your life. What battle are you gonna fight? Which battle are you gonna stand in and say, I'm empowered to do this? And if it's at a company you want to work at, place you want to be with, people you want to bring up with you, you're gonna find a way to win that fight. I'm all about bringing somebody up with me. I'm not about being up there by myself. And that has nothing to do with color. That has to be doing with greatness. Who's ever great around me, I want you around me. I want you around me. But if you're not great and you're not working to be great, how can I make you? I don't have negative things to say about it. What can I do to help you? That should be the organization's theme song. How can I help you? Not I'm gonna get you sucker.
All I got is the fish shoes in my head getting broken. But yeah, so with that, that's a reference to I'm gonna get you sucker.
Yo, we show
With
our age sometime on here.
but with that, I definitely we got a question. Is it about taking possession of a situation? It's about taking possession of a situation. I guess what you were
Yes.
speaking to.
Yes, it is. It's about taking and you own that situation. Every individual situation is your opportunity to make change. Let me say that one time real slow. Every individual situation is a leader's opportunity to make change. So how you react to the individual thing that happens is what's going to permeate further. It's what's going to either cause greatness to happen in your department or it's going to cause calamity and chaos to happen in your department. It's how you as a leader respond, react, and do to, right? So if I'm having an issue, say this quickly. If I'm having an issue, they bring it to me, I settle it. Most issues I settle in front of the two parties that the issues are. You know what that does? What that does is says I'm not partial to either side. And what that does is say communication is going to be the result of what we're going to do as a resolution. Because I have all of you here, we're all gathered, and we're going to share what happened. And you say, Carl, man, that's tough, man, because some of the people are like ignorant, and they be all loud and make scenes. Yeah, I've been in. I work with individuals. They thought if they was louder than you and make a scene, you wouldn't say nothing about what they was doing. But I like scenes, so they picked the wrong one.
Child. But um, just to recap and I'll give it to Carl to close us out. That with being a vulnerable leader, I want y'all to walk away from this episode to know that it can start with you. The power of opening up. There's a lot of you that lead, and I'll tell you, you can lead at your job. You don't have to be in the leadership position, but you're leading a team somehow. You're leading your coworkers by showing yourself as an example of, look, this is how we can do better. Let me open up about me not understanding certain things that we need to be doing on this project. Maybe I don't know everything on how to handle something. Let me listen to what somebody says, and it may not click for everybody, but maybe we can alter what you've said to fit our team and everything. Those are part of taking leadership roles. That's how you show yourself as, look, you can think out the box. You don't need somebody to always dictate to you what to do. You can do better. And those in leadership positions, this is the time to start saying, you know what, let it start with me. If I can show folks that it can be done, it's better, it's easier for me to now make it an initiative that all of us can follow through on. But if people, and unfortunately that's how it is, when people don't see when folks don't see an example, they're like, ah, that can't get done. That can't get. And
Yes.
what I do with one of my peers and my boss, what we do it within our little circle. We knock
Mhm.
it out. We bring somebody in and say, hey, let's do this together. And da 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 da. By the time we get 6 months to a year under our belts and we get ready to introduce it to everybody else, we ready for the naysayers. Oh, that can't
Mhm.
be done. And da 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 da. Oh, we've been doing it for 6 months already. Thank you.
That- Now that's leadership. That's
Right?
leadership right there, and that's leadership.
You shut it down, but you have to shut things down by examples. Be the example. If you can't find somebody else to be your example, you be the example. And that's why I wanted to leave off. Be open enough to be the example for other people.
Absolutely, and I got that. That is part of my that is part of my catchphrase, and it's all over my website. Is leadership needs an example, right? And the leadership that needs an example is you being that. And
Hmm.
you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. That's how you'll get into leadership. That'll be your opening door to leadership. Be the example when your title, when your name's not on there. We have a thing that we do in the church, or where my church organization, right? A lot of times for the different offices, before we pick someone, they're already kind of working that office before we pick them and put that title on them. Like we have a deacon or we have a mother or we have, they're doing those things of that office. And then we go to them and say, oh, how would you like to be? Or how can we make you this? Because they're already exemplifying that. That's what
Hmm.
leadership needs to be. So you, that individual that sits there without a title as of yet, or you want to have that, set your own example, set your own mark. Somebody's watching, somebody's paying attention. And then once they see that you have the grandest opportunity in the world to say, this is how it's going to be for us. That's what it is. It can begin with you. I've done it, I've seen it, and I know it. It can be done with you, starting with you. Awesome conversation. Awesome. I love it.
So thank you all for rocking it out with us today. Y'all came
Yes.
through. What? Y'all was
Big
ready.
time. We
Y'all was ready
appreciate
for
that.
this. I think y'all was ready for this
Yeah, y'all
conversation.
ready for it. They's ready. They's ready because I think it's not only the example, but people are looking for change. And you're right. They're
Mhm.
pulling us back in. I'm fighting it wholeheartedly right now. I'm really fighting it wholeheartedly. I'm trying to get some things established so I don't have to go back, man. But they is tooth and nail. They trying to get rid of this hybrid where I'm at, and it's just a real hard fight. And I'm just pulling in favors and calling in favors. I'm just not ready. I'm not ready yet. I'm getting everything but a new case of COVID. Anything just not to go back into office. But
My
they're
man,
pulling all the stops out to try to get you back. They
my
really
man
are
that
because
said that.
because they paying that rent. They paying that rent, so they got to get you back
That's
in these
true.
buildings.
That's true.
Yeah,
But on that note, we're going to go make moves to pay our rent.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We got to go pay rent. We got to
Yes.
go pay
So
rent.
thank y'all so much for coming through, and we will see y'all if
Appreciate y'all.
not for
Appreciate y'all.
tomorrow, because we have credible vulnerability
Yeah,
Fridays at 9 a.m. We have some big moves, especially for our YouTube channel. Make sure that you are a part of it. Make sure that you
yeah.
head on over and you subscribe to that YouTube channel. We have a lot of big things coming your way. We're gonna trickle those out for you in December, so you guys can be ready. Because by the time 2023 hit, we hitting the ground running. So we're not hearing all that,
Yeah,
but
we not.
but make sure you head on over to realtalklivepodcast.com/YouTube. Subscribe, become part of that YouTube family. And like I said, thank you all for just showing up and showing out as you always do. We appreciate y'all, Real Talk Live family. And we will catch y'all next week.
Deuces. Real talk. Have a great weekend.
Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it. Real talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it.